Any questions? Yes, Radhe Shyam from
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, sometimes when people say that they are taking training from me, for example, they are connected to me, and they don't follow properly, and then they bring bad name to me or to Pune. Then sometimes I feel that I feel upset, with that. Why they claim their connection to me while not following what I tell them to follow, So is it also a type of material ego, or is it a sense of responsibility? I'm not very sure about that.
It must be a sense of responsibility. We should see that these types of situations, although unfortunate, see it as Krishna's way of trying to help you to really come more and more above the false ego. What's important is to make sure that we don't have ulterior motives, we are not mistreating people, we're really trying to do the best we can. And even if you do the absolute best you can, still people will blame you and people will criticize you, because that's the nature of the world. And we should hear it to see if there's some truth, that I'm doing something wrong, that I'm making some mistake. If there is, we should rectify it. And even if there is, we should rectify it, but we shouldn't become depressed, because life really good in your own ego. If you're going to criticize somebody in a high position. It makes the ego think that, just see my power, I can criticize that person. What does that make me if I could criticize that person? Yes, sometimes people have to, that's where they're at. So we can try to, serve the best way we possibly can. And when those things happen beyond our own limitations, then we should see it as a blessing. It's meant to help me become more detached. And we take shelter of Krishna in that situation. Does that answer your question? Hari Hari. Is there another question? Huh? You have one more.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, today in your class, one very important point you were saying that one should not have a feeling of superiority over others. Sometimes even when we do good to someone by making an effort to rectify their anartha, and after it is done, and in case they get better also, sometimes one problem is that sense of superiority, which is an anartha that may come in my heart. And another one is the traces of anartha in the other person, which may still be lingering, and the old impression that I have about them, the older perception. How do we erase it? Because that is only known to me when I am handling a person, and it is a confidential thing which we cannot tell others. So I help an individual to rectify him, get rid of a fault. And after it is done, either it is still lingering in the person, or my perception of that individual makes me not respect him so much, after I know his deficiency. So how do I get rid of that? Because he has already improved and he has come up. Still the old impressions are still there. So how do I get rid of it? And also how do I not feel a sense of superiority that I have helped him, because I feel both of these are very dangerous and detrimental, leading to pride.
Just be honest. If you are feeling yourself superior to someone because of that instance that you explain, then that in and of itself reveals your own limitation, your own defect. So just seeing that ego in yourself should humble you. Yes? The mind is like a restless child, and the intelligence is meant to be like a loving mother. So the restless child is naturally going to go in so many places to get in trouble and to endanger himself. But the loving mother is always there to bring the child back to the right place. So similarly, the mind's nature is like that, to find fault, to be egoistic, so many things, to want to enjoy this, to want to be averse to that. But the intelligence, like a mother, has to keep yato yato nishchalate manas chanchalamashtaram. The Gita says, wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, we must bring it back to that safe place. And that's the function of the intelligence. When the intelligence is nourished by the power of spiritual knowledge and grace, then it can modify and give proper interpretation to the wanderings of the mind. Because all these things are so superficial and temporary. You know, a person may have some difficulty, and a person may confide in you. This is what you're saying. And then you could help the person come out of it. And then you're thinking this person has this difficulty, and you're making judgments of him. But this person, you know, if he's overcoming his difficulty, by the end of this life, this person can go back home, back to Godhead. And you might, you know, take another birth because you think you're better than him. Huh? So we have to try to see the whole picture. Bhakti is a powerful process. And that's why Lord Chaitanya, very powerful statement. We have to apply this on our own lives, amongst each other. What did Jagai and Madhai do? How would you like Jagai and Madhai to confess what they were going through? Huh? Even Yamaraj couldn't handle it. So if you're Jagai and Madhai, I would have said, this is my problems. Then you would really have something to be judgmental about. But after they chanted the names of God and humbled themselves and accepted the path of pure bhakti, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told all the devotees, never think of Jagai and Madhai due to their past defects. Now they're with us. They're one of us. Jagai and Madhai were dancing with the devotees in kirtan so intimately that they were they were crashing into Lord Chaitanya and everybody else. They were in such happiness. So Lord Chaitanya said like this, never think of them for what they were. Think of them for who they are. So if somebody's rectifying themselves, it's not our position to think of what we could think of what they were, not to judge the person, but rather to appreciate. This person was like that, and now like this. To come out from that into this, it's actually a glorification. It's an appreciation. And if a person's still suffering due to their problems and their anarthas, we should do everything we can to help. We do everything we can to protect other people from being influenced by that. But we should do it in a spirit of service. And we should know. I mean, I've seen some of my godbrothers who went quite deep into Maya due to previous conditionings. But because somehow or other they did nice service. You know, they got some situation came where at the end of their life they just totally became humble and surrendered to Krishna and definitely went back home, back to Godhead. So I may not have those difficulties, but I may not surrender like they do and go back to Godhead. That's the way we should be feeling. Even if a person's having difficulty, we have to protect ourselves from that. We have to protect others from that influence. We have to try to protect them from that influence. But at the same time, we should understand that this person, you know, at any moment, he has a right to surrender and become perfect. And he just might. And this difficulty might just be the thing that really helps him to do it. Does that answer your question? So we have to try to see the large picture of things. We have to deal with the small picture. But real leadership is we deal effectively, comprehensively with the small picture of things, but we always see it in context of the big picture. And we have to balance the two. So I think we should end here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.